Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Eric Gould Marble Eyes Origin Story.
All right, we're joined by Eric Gould today, most notably from Particle and Pink Talking Fish, but now as part of Marble Eyes. Someone mentioned Marble Eyes to me, Eric, and I threw it a one and I was like, wow, good harmonies, strong songwriting, great melodies. What's going on here? You want to talk a little bit about the origin of the project?
Oh yeah, happy to. This band was born of a silver lining out of the pandemic. So it's so interesting because my history with in live music and just in music in general started off with Particle, where we were focused on original music. A couple covers got thrown in there, but the nature of our show, it wasn't very often. Then I moved out to Kansas City in 2008 and just gotten some pickup groups for fun and actually started playing other people's music for the first time in many years. And I was like, wow, this is just amazing. This is so fun. And from there, took the newfound love of tribute and formed Pink Talking Fish. And you open a door, be prepared to walk through it. The band has done so well and taken me on quite the ride. But during that time, I've been so busy with it, I didn't have time to cultivate my original music. And during that time, I was learning the songbooks of Pink Floyd, Talking Heads, Fish. I had all these ideas. It was kind of like Karate Kid, wax on, wax off mentality of like learning all these things about and all these ideas about different styles of music and songwriting and all of this, but I didn't have any outlet to put it into original music. And I always tried, but just life got in the way, just too busy. And it took the pandemic. 2020 happened, all live music stopped. The guitar player from Marble Eyes, he and I had been threatening to play music together for close to 5 years. And it just never happened. He lived 20 minutes away from me at the time. It's the summer of 2020, pandemic. I give him a call. I'm like, dude, I just want to play music with somebody. How about come on over? I had a home office and a detached garage I made with a PA setup. I brought it outside. He brought over Max Chase, a keyboard player. They had been playing, and the three of us had a session, and we picked some covers to learn just for fun, and we just really were compatible and vocally and just within our instruments. And we showed each other a few original songs, and that was all compatible. It was like, wow, here we are. Like, this is something. So Adrian Tramontano and I have been friends and in the circuit together for a long time. I was also manager for his band Kung Fu for a while too. So I always had it in mind that when the time came for original music, I wanted Adrian to be a part of it. And so it's funny because Adrian was at his own crossroads. I think like maybe a day or two before I called him about this, he was, like we all were freaking out about the pandemic and what was going on. Like maybe music isn't for me anymore. Maybe I got to move on. The next day I'm calling him like, hey, take a drive over here. Let's play some music with me. Let's maybe finally start an original group together. He's like, okay. And so excuse me, once the four of us got together, it just fit like a glove. And what wound up happening is the cork popped really for all of us, particularly Mike Carter, the guitar player, and I. We went, the two of us write most of the songs and then we realize them together as a group. Max writes a smaller amount of songs, our keyboard player, but his songs are just freaking incredible. Together over the course of about a year, we wrote over 70 original songs together, we just went for it. And it was just, the creative juices were flowing. It was a huge just inspiration during a time where inspiration within art was so hard to find. And so that was the birth of it. Fortunately, up in New England area, there were some drive-in shows popping up, some pod shows popping up, and we were actually able to perform some of these songs live. And then we recorded an album, and now we just released our second album, and life is back to where it was now post-pandemic, and we're all busy again. But we also have this gift that is Marble Eyes.
Well, my next question was going to be, did the first album, did any of the songs get road tested? So I guess the songs that ended up on the album, you did actually get to play live before you laid them down?
Yeah, we had done not a lot, but a handful of live shows. There's only so many you can do. The band at the time, I was living in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and that's where Mike and Max, guitar and keyboard player, live as well. They live in that area. So the band is technically a Seacoast, New Hampshire band, as far as its roots, but also Boston counts as well within there. So there was a couple different outdoor scenarios. There's a classic venue called the Stone Church that opened its arms up to us, and that was amazing. They built an outdoor stage and fine-tuned it over the pandemic. It was great. There's another amazing promoter in the Portsmouth area who created right in the center of town this pod-based concert series. So we were able to do that. We ran around and did a couple other outdoor things. We did one in Cape Cod. We did some others too. But yeah, and then and so that was all like a lot of those shows were before we recorded the first album. So we did get to do it. We wound up recording, I think, about 16 songs, and 14 of them made it onto it. It's a thing, like we all come from jam band roots, but our songs, we have some jam vehicles, but we are very focused on the song, on the melody, on the vocal harmony. You have a lot of jam bands out there that rock. We're more a rock band that jams.
Right. I thought you were going to say the thing no one ever talks about is that most jam bands should not be singing.
Well, I'm not gonna say we're the best vocalists out there, but we do work hard to try to be creative with our vocals. And we have 3 different lead vocalists in the band, and I love that about it. It's like kind of in the spirit of the band, or like Gomez, like bands like that. And we also really love to harmonize together.
Right. Now, you guys work on that. You have to work on that harmonizing, right?
Well, if the harmonies don't work, it's awful. So yeah, if you're gonna put it out there, you better do it well, right?
That's the beautiful thing. I got hints of a little bit of like Crosby, Stills, Nash kind of things. You guys were finding really cool spaces. And like you said, you don't necessarily write jam songs. You write songs that are allowed to be open up, and the songwriting is so strong. You said that you'll come with an idea, or Mike will. You two bring them together, you flesh it out and take it to the other guys. Is that the process?
Yeah, generally someone comes in with a skeleton and vocals and the vocal melody. Sometimes vocals change slightly, but for the most part, we're coming in with a nice body of the song. We really haven't been the kind of band that just sits down, okay, let's just all write a song together one day. That's not the way it's been working. It's just a bunch of songwriters who bring in their tunes. And then when I say the term realized, I'll use myself as an example. I'll oftentimes have a lot going on in my head, but I also know and believe that you're the best when you're an extension of your experts. I'm not going to think of a drum beat the way that Adrian Tramontano is going to do that. Same, I'm not going to have a Rhodes, comp the way Max Chase is going to. He's brilliant with the Rhodes. And, but I will, as a bass player, have nice bodies of songs. I will think about melodies. And I'm also I'm also a lyricist, and so I do come in with those. But what'll happen, and these guys still to this day make fun of me like crazy, and I just own it. But I'll give them a demo that's just bass and vocals. And the first time they listen to this thing, they're like, "Oh my God, what is happening here?" Because it's ridiculous. It's just a bass, like a rudimentary bass, so that like the form is known, and then the vocals on there. And then once we get together and we start going, and I start directing it a little bit, then they're like, "Oh, okay," and then it all it just comes together and blends in. But it's pretty funny the nature of how that goes.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.